the guys that are on steroids, their bodies age like 20 years. So Gordon Ryan's 1 year older than me.
Yeah.
He looks like he's 40. Are we the same? Are we 1 year apart? Like, how is that possible?
You were potentially going to compete at the CJI. The person you were going to grapple was Alex Volkanovski.
He's a hard guy sub. You know, Islam couldn't sub him, and Islam's like 200 pounds. He's huge.
You would have subbed him.
But what I'm saying is, guard pulling. You see now a lot of D1 wrestlers, all these guys are coming to jiu-jitsu. So the jiu-jitsu phase right now of wrestling, look at us, we're doing wrestling.
Yep.
There's no way they're going to be wrestling with D1 wrestlers. Am I right? Am I right? I get so much hate and pressure from everyone.
You have no hate from me.
No, you're a lover. Thank you.
Oh, it's 15-time world champion Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MightyCast.
What's going on, guys? This podcast is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game where you can play directly from your phone. All you got to do is go to your app store, download PrizePicks, and when you do that, make sure you use my promo code MightyCast. They have a cool promotion going on right now. All you got to do is play $5, and you're going to win $50. And we also have the NFL season coming up. It is here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make Sunday way more exciting with PrizePicks. Get your picks in at the right place, which is PrizePicks. This podcast is also sponsored by Phorm. It is what keeps me fueled and keep my weight up and keeping the muscles looking fresh and fit. Shout out to all the sponsors for supporting the podcast. Please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to when we go live and leave a comment and let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Let us enjoy this episode with Mikey Musumeci. Enjoy.
I love that though.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, I don't want this to be on there, so
Okay.
we can. Actually, you know what? We can just. I'll just talk about it, and then we just.
That will make me more open and less introvert. That's what I'm saying. When you talk
gotcha.
like random, then I forget I'm camera.
Yeah, no worries. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the episode of the MightyCast. I have DARTH, RIGATONI, aka Mikey Musumeci, one of the greatest grapplers of all time. I grappled him today, and he pushed my shit in probably about 25 times in one round. But we're not going to talk about that. So, Mikey, welcome to the episode of the MightyCast.
No, it's an honor to be on here with MMA GOAT Mighty Mouse. Let's get an intro also.
No. I suck now. So don't.
What do you mean? Shut up.
Okay, so when we talk about, we're going to keep on going where we left off. Now, let's talk about that. You mentioned a little bit the division.
Yeah.
In one championship in grappling, right? A lot of people, when they look at the division, just the grappling scene in general, it's honestly the Mikey Musumeci division and the Gabriel division and the Rotolo brothers divisions. The reason why I say that is that each time there is a match in one championship, it's one of you guys, right? Where there isn't like, who's the number one contender? Who's the second in line? Who's third? Who's fourth? Who's five? How like, for somebody coming new into the sport when they come from mixed martial arts or even boxing or even kickboxing, there's typically a pecking order where it's like, okay, that's the number one contender. We know who this is. Obviously, Gabriel Sousa, your last opponent, he came in, got a title shot right off the bat. A lot of people from mixed martial arts.
That was not my division, though. That was 145.
145.
I had to go up to 45.
Exactly. So you went to a brand new division. They just made a division, right? And so how, like for the new fans who are coming into grappling, like how can you make that make sense? Because sometimes I sit back and I'm like, it's not, they might as well take away the division. It should be Mikey's division, Rotolo Brothers division.
Just the name of it.
Just the name of the division. Because each time you guys grapple, it's you guys grappling.
I feel like we're in the beginning phase of jiu-jitsu, right? And I feel like maybe in the beginning of MMA with Royce Gracie, during that time, we were kind of in that vibe too, where we have to make it exciting, make it fun, make the sport grow. And I feel like as the sport grows, we're going to have more like contenders, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And right now, what we have to do is, again, make people understand what jiu-jitsu is, make people actually enjoy watching and not be the bathroom break for them, right?
Gotcha.
Like striker and MMA fans, when they first see jiu-jitsu, I know it could be like boring to them and hard to understand. Not the hardcore jiu-jitsu people.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've been the pioneers, Cade, Ty, and me, on this platform of one that Shotji gave us the opportunity to do to grow our sport, you know? And we've been trying very hard to make it exciting so fans start watching. And people are jiu-jitsu is growing so much now.
And that's always interesting when you look at jiu-jitsu for the people who don't really watch it, is that it's not about, it's a little bit of a strength, but it's more about the finesse and the intricacies of like how to move and manipulate the body, right? A smaller man taking on David versus Goliath. You were able to do that, right? You did it before. I seen that match with you when you were doing IBJJF, the 400-pound guy. You sat down and he could have passed your guy. He could have passed your guard, right?
And that would be impossible in any other sport for us to be on the same mat together. Like how?
Yeah, the commission wouldn't allow it, right? I think the only time a commission would allow that was Japan back in the Pride and Dream days, or maybe Ryzen, or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and IBJJF. Now let's talk about your upbringing, right? So what got you into Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah, so my dad was a big MMA fan. You know, like he watched UFC, like he was a huge fan, and he loved Muay Thai and fighting, just in general. And I was 4 years old, and I saw my dad training. Like, I want to do that. You know? He never pressured me to train or anything. He just did it, and I wanted to do it.
So he was in mixed martial arts. He wasn't into
He was into Muay Thai, mostly striking, and a little jiu-jitsu. I think got to his blue belt, and then he stopped training.
Really?
But it just made me want to train because I saw him training, and I feel like that's one thing I see a lot of these days is parents pushing their kids to train. And I feel like when you push your kid to train, they don't want to train. My dad didn't do that. He just said, I'm going to train. So he made it his cool thing that he's doing. And then I wanted to do it because I thought it was cool that he's doing it.
So it was like a bonding time with you and your dad. So then where did you navigate into jiu-jitsu? Since your dad was doing Muay Thai and the stand-up, like I know you have...
I did Muay Thai as a kid also. I did Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu together.
Gotcha. But then why did I stop? No, not stop, but what did you start gravitating more towards the Jiu-Jitsu? Like, did you realize that was just the thing you were just good at? You enjoyed it more, or?
Since about 4 years old, I did stand-up and Jiu-Jitsu, but I started just doing mostly Jiu-Jitsu as I got older. It just was more fun for me, I guess. I loved Muay Thai always, but it just, I don't know, I just got obsessed with Jiu-Jitsu, like the puzzles of it. It just felt like, Muay Thai always just felt like a workout more. Jiu-Jitsu, like the problem solving, the puzzles. And I just had way more people to do Jiu-Jitsu with, you know?
Gotcha.
Because I even did wrestling younger too, but I lost people to train with, and then it just became, I only had Jiu-Jitsu people, so I was just doing Jiu-Jitsu.
How'd you lose your wrestling people?
When I got put in the adult class,
gotcha.
I was like 50, 60 pounds.
Gotcha.
And I used to love like single legs, double legs. All I did was wrestling, like when I was a kid. Every match, the fight would start double leg, single leg. And then you go into the adult class and you try to shoot on them and they sprawl on you. And you're like, screw this. I'm not shooting ever again.
And gotcha. And that's why when we're training today, you're like, I'm not fucking shooting. I'm scoot. Well, I mean, a lot of people, like we talk about it today, right? You have so many different things going on. You have karate combat. They have a jiu-jitsu thing. You have ADCC. They have jiu-jitsu. You have ADCC. You have IBJJF.
So many different rule sets.
So many different rule sets, right? And I think the biggest thing, you know, a lot of MMA guys are starting to come to jiu-jitsu. You know, we just had Uriah Faber take on Bibiano Fernandez. You had Aljamain Sterling making his tread in there.
And I respect them so much for doing that, by the way, because they're helping jiu-jitsu people that have no name. They help them grow our brand, you know?
Absolutely.
They have such a big fan base and they're helping us.
That's what, it's always funny. The first person who said that was Craig Jones. He was like, you MMA guys, you guys have so many fucking fans. So I wanted some of you guys to come do, you know, CGI to get, you know, notoriety, which makes sense because it's a smart thing to do. But you're seeing all these guys do different things, right? They're going into that sport.
Different rule sets, different
rule set. So when you're pulling guard, it makes sense because you don't want to shoot and force it. But like you said before, your argument was good, is that it's sport jiu-jitsu. The name of the game is to submit you as fast as possible.
As fast as you can. So that's me throwing punches to knock the person out, the equivalent. Because I'm just looking for the finish. I don't want to waste time just standing for 10 minutes, you know. Like RDR versus Thai, one of the matches in Denver last year.
I remember that.
They were just wall wrestling the whole time. And it was very technical probably for like the hardcore fans that know wrestling and wall wrestling. But they didn't do any finishes the whole match.
But see, that's because they don't have, like today earlier, ladies and gentlemen, me and Mikey Musumeci work together, and I showed him how to walk past that, and hopefully one day he will do that. But we said don't do it to K because that'll be different.
That's scary.
That's different. Don't do it to him, but do it to somebody else.
100% another match.
Another match. Okay.
Another match what we're gonna do is he's gonna help me with a takedown.
And
he's gonna corner me, and I'm gonna hit takedown one of my one matches at 135.
I don't want you to do takedown.
I want to hit a cool takedown.
No, don't hit a fucking cool takedown.
Cool,
no, do that gangster shit I taught you. Don't do takedown.
A little takedown.
No, fuck that.
Just one time.
The next time you do the gangster shit I taught you, then after that,
I can do a takedown.
Then you do takedown.
All right, you help me though?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
We'll do a cool takedown for a match.
But do the gangster shit first, okay? Okay, now let's get back. Now, IBJJF. I feel personally that is probably the biggest platform in jiu-jitsu. The reason why I say that is because you have so many big tournaments.
Yep.
Euros, Brazil.
It's very consistent. It's easy to compete.
Easy to compete.
Since I've been born, 1996 it started.
It's been going for a long time,
Yep.
right? And it has an established rule set that it's across the board. Everybody understands it. They have. Do they have drug testing?
Yeah, they do at Worlds.
And only for the adults,
Yes.
not for masters.
No.
Not for the old people.
Masters are all on TRT.
Hey, no,
Your division, you have to deal with more juiced people than I have to.
you know what? I rather deal with the people who are juiced.
And by the way, he's 100% natural, because I can instantly feel when I train with people, so that even makes me a bigger fan of you. Like,
Oh, yeah.
No, but so many of those top athletes, they've taken so much.
I would-
He's 100% natural,
Dude.
Like, I could feel instantly when they are, and he's 100% natural, so that even makes him more of a goat.
Here's my thing. Okay, when it comes to the whole
Dan Gable mindset.
No.
I love Dan Gable.
No. My mindset is this. Only thing I've ever done is I've done alcohol, I've done marijuana, and that's about it, right? I've done stem cells and all that shit just to help repair my muscles, and not muscles, but my ligaments. But for me, steroids has never been an option for me. Reason why is because I've never wanted to mess with my hormones.
In your body, right?
And my body.
Well, you're so healthy, even though you're older, your body's still healthy.
Yeah, and
I think we're both very healthy, like young, like our bodies.
Absolutely. And for me, it's like at one point, when the point comes where I cannot keep up with the younger generation, that's when I know my body, it's time to, I don't need to try to be that person anymore, right?
Well, let me just make an example, okay?
Yeah.
So Gordon Ryan's 1 year older than me.
Yeah.
He looks like he's 40.
Yeah.
Are we the same? Are we 1 year apart? Like, how is that possible?
Well, you also gotta look at genetics too. People,
But all the guys that are on steroids, their bodies aged like 20 years.
Yeah, well, of course, because
that's what I'm saying. My body's like 20. His body's like 40.
Yes, because he put his body through that stress. Yep. Obviously, the gut issues.
But short term, like long term, I could compete like another 20 years if I want to.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
you could compete another so many years.
Absolutely.
But that's what I'm saying. Long term, we get to enjoy the sport so much longer because we don't abuse our body like that.
Exactly.
And we beat all those guys that take anyway, so it doesn't matter. Because we just have to work harder and we get more technical.
Well, maybe you do. I don't.
What do you mean? You beat all those fucking guys. You're the best in MMA ever. So how are you saying this?
I fought one guy on EPO and I beat him. But I mean, no, I totally agree with you, right? I think there has to come a point in time
it makes us more technical, no? Like that we have to.
Not
we overthink more positions, have more variations.
I think the whole thing when it comes to the steroid, I think it comes down to like Craig Jones. He's very open about it, and I love that because he's like, my body just breaks down, and I want to keep on training, right? Mm-hmm. Like, not everybody can recover as fast as you can. Not everybody's gonna be as fast as me.
I'm always dying with recovery. Most of the time, I'm like bedridden because I can't walk from the training.
Exactly. So
those guys have to recover instantly, right?
Exactly. So that's why they're like, why would I want to be bedridden when I just like, fuck it, take it. This guy's taking it. That guy's taking it. They're taking it, right?
But then they say, oh, everyone's taking it, right? That's the mindset. But it's not everyone,
Not everyone is taking it, right? No, I totally agree with you. I'm the same way. Like,
and then the problem is in jiu-jitsu, you have kids taking it now, like 12, 13 years old. I don't know in MMA if it's this bad, but in jiu-jitsu, there's kid programs. Like the biggest teams in the world, they have the kids taking steroids. And people know, and they just ignore it. They turn their back to it.
Yeah.
So that's something that has to change in jiu-jitsu as we get a bigger sport. Right?
Yeah, so I think
MMA is better now with testing, of course.
Oh, 1,000%. Yep. Like USADA, I don't care what anybody says, USADA, when the UFC had USADA, it was the best. And you had so many athletes bitching about it. Yeah. Oh, USADA's waking me at 4 a.m. Oh, USADA is bristling. I was like,
but
dude.
So many great champions disappeared the second USADA came in.
Poor Vitor. TRT Vitor was the best Vitor. He was unstoppable. But no, I agree with you because when I was under the USADA umbrella, they came out to the liquor store. They said, don't move. We're coming right now. Gave me a sample of the liquor store.
I remember I was with Gilbert Burns, and we were at Miami Open, which is just an IBJJF tournament in Florida.
Yep.
We lived in Boca, so it's like 40, 45 minutes away. And I'm there hanging out with him. He's like, USADA's at my door right now. Yeah. And then he's just like, oh, I'm at Miami Open. They drove all the way 45 minutes to him and tested him right there.
Yeah, and that's why USADA will always be King Dingley in my book. They'll always be best. And the only way it's going to stop, like those kid programs that put them through the testosterone and all the steroids, is when the big leagues like IBJJF and ADCC.
There's actually money, right? Like
there's actually not money.
Like yearly testing.
Just testing like, hey guys, but like you said, it's the money. Yeah. It costs a lot of money. And already in IBJJF, there is no money to be made. No. There's just no money.
Well, they pocket so much money and they give nothing to their competitors.
Well, I'm not going to, I can't speak.
I love what they do for jiu-jitsu, that they help this sport grow and stuff, but there should be more money in the sport, Like ADCC and Craig Jones, we're seeing it right now. ADCC, you make $10K to win, 4 or 5 hard matches.
Yep.
Craig, you're making $1 million.
So let's back it up, okay? I don't want to jump the boat. You know, you navigate the fucking seat like
I
this.
have ADHD, so I jump all the time.
I have 3 children. I understand. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about the money in jiu-jitsu right now, okay? IBJJF. First thing, if we want to say athletes should be making money, we need to figure out how much money does the organization actually make, right? It's the same thing with the UFC and mixed martial arts.
UFC obviously makes way more with the viewership.
And then we're like the fighters should make more money, right? So let's scale it back and let's look at IBJJF. So what do you think? You've been 10-time champion IBJJF and multiple belts. What do you think is fair for an athlete? So Kennedy, he won Brazil, he won Euros, and he also won Pan Am. How much money should they make?
You see, the problem is we need viewership. If we're not having viewership, how could you ask for more money? So I think these places like ADCC, IBJJF, like I'm not complaining about them not giving us money. I think they're great to help build people's brands.
Well, I don't know, build people's brands.
Like beating people, building your name, getting the titles, to build your name, and then going professional, like the one championship. That's where you could actually make money, like a professional athlete.
Yeah, but once again,
the 1%.
The
goal in jiu-jitsu one day is to have multiple people making money, not just us, Rutolos, Craig.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that's Mikey and Rutolo. That's the Musumeci and but
that's why we're doing this. That's why we've been pushing it so hard to try to create a platform for other people to make money.
Yeah.
And Craig doing this also is helping us so much as well.
Yeah. So I'll give my take on the IBJJF thing. Where I think, I agree with you. It's the viewership.
We don't have viewership. In
There's
IBJJF.
no viewership. So
jiu-jitsu for the non-nerds of jiu-jitsu is very boring to watch.
Yeah.
You know, we can't expect people to watch that.
Well, I think they're just not educated.
It's beautiful. No, they're not educated. It's beautiful for us.
Yes.
Like I'm the biggest jiu-jitsu nerd. I love those matches.
Yes.
But for the people that small segment of jiu-jitsu could watch it, but not the whole segment in general. The MMA fans, they'll be like, what the hell is this?
Yes, exactly. And it's something I talked to Bear at Show Your Roll about. It's like, dude, how the fuck does Power Slap have all these viewership?
Instant excitement.
And it's also, I mean, Dana White said it's worth like a $500 million business right now. And how can you translate that excitement into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
What is your opinion on that? How can we make Jiu-Jitsu exciting? Because, for example, if you have 2 guys wrestling in Jiu-Jitsu, we're not very high-level wrestlers.
Yeah.
So even if you watch us wrestle, right, you'll watch it, like, oh, they're like probably blue, purple, like the top wrestlers in Jiu-Jitsu. So it's not beautiful to watch that.
I think it's the style, and I think it's the
athletes themselves going to the finish.
It's the athletes itself, and it's also building their brand, right? Like for me, like I just jumped on the scene in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in IBJJF, right? And a lot of people enjoy watching my matches because I always just go. But there's gonna come a point in time when I'm gonna get,
honestly, like thinking about IBJJF right now, like even Worlds and everything, you doing Masters Worlds is like the biggest thing. Like everyone watching for IBJJF, doing it out of everyone.
Yeah, and
you're not even competing in adult. Like but just you going on that platform, you're helping us grow this sport so much.
Yeah, and it's also building my brand because
that's why I'm like, I really am thankful for you guys helping us grow this sport.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I love out of all the sports, out of all the platforms, IBJJF is probably my favorite one.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. Then after that, it'll probably go. Fuck, it's hard because I'm not a fan of one championship's scoring system.
Oh, with the catches.
I watched Jessica Khan and what's her name?
And
Daniels. I was like, Jessica Khan's fucking her up. I was like,
she took her back.
4 points. Pass guard. 3 fucking points.
But like you get a catch.
But she was like, got your ankle, bitch. I was like, catch, give up. I was like, goddamn well she ain't gonna tap to that. And then and then she lost. I was like, and I went on Twitter and I was like, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have to agree with the score curriculum, right? If when you and Kate go, you motherfuckers gonna be sniffing each other's feet the whole fucking time, right? You ain't gonna tap to that. He ain't gonna fucking tap to that, right? But if you pass his guard and you hold him there, you mount him, you take his back. That I think in my mind that plays way more significant because
it's dominant. It's dominant. But the problem again, the other extreme is IBJJF with this, and you'll see a lot of boring matches because people don't even have any submissions, and then they'll just play this.
Well, it's just like in
wrestling. We need a balance of both.
I agree, but it's just like in wrestling, right? At the highest level of wrestling, you don't see anything happen, right?
It's a stalemate. Yeah,
it's a stalemate, and
they're going Olympics, right?
They're going to the Olympics, right? And then it goes beep overtime. Head or tails? What do you want? Up or down? I'm going down. You have 30 seconds to fucking escape. You hang on to him. You win the match. It is what it is. You wipe your hands clean.
Yeah.
We're in jiu-jitsu where it can be like this. If you guys are going back and forth.
Two super even guys.
So do you think that
So this is what's interesting. So Hoist Gracie, for example, in UFC.
Yep.
He had mismatches where like he was level so much higher. Jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
So do you think that there should be more mismatches for us that we could show the world jiu-jitsu and then also super competitive even matches at the same time?
I think my personal opinion is I think there just needs to be more other
stories?
More stories. I think give more opportunities to other athletes besides, we're on a fucking tangent here, but I think, like I said, it's Mikey Rotolo division, right? Each time there's a grappling match, it's you guys. And that's just, that's not coming from just me, but that's just coming from the masses, Reddit or whatever it may be, right? Like for example, why the fuck are you grappling Jared Brooks? Right? Like, that's what people like, are there not enough good athletes out there to grapple Mikey? Like, people start to think, right? Like, that's how I look at it. So I think right now, what you guys, when you brought
I think some matches like that are important for us to just cross over some MMA people into jiu-jitsu, some jiu-jitsu people to learn about Jared Brooks as well.
Yeah, and
because we're willing to compete every month. Rotolo and me are always saying to Shashi, please, could we compete every month?
And I think you guys should be able to.
And I think that the super high-level matches, we should have some months, 100%, like just random people.
Yeah.
But I also think those mismatches or just random people that we're competing with help us grow things in different segments. Like, we can reach different segments.
Yeah.
Well, do you agree with that point, at least?
I agree with that point. I just think there's sometimes when you're trying to build, and once again, I'm looking at it as a fan standpoint, not a business standpoint, right? Like, as a businessman standpoint, it's like, what's going to drive the biggest buzz in grappling, right?
No, 100%.
But here's the thing. But once you and Cade, that's the biggest match.
Yeah.
It's going to be the biggest match.
I feel like because we already established ourselves. So we have the name and backing.
Outside of one
and
championship.
but also the MMA fans know who we are because we've been competing. So one helped grow our brands a lot. So it's a more broad segment this match.
Yeah, but once that match is done, everybody's gonna be like, what's the next high?
Yeah.
It's like John, everybody's
and then I'm in your position, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Let's I go back to the gi with you?
Yeah. Well, you beat him. It's like,
we're just going to do gi world camps together.
Hey, come on down, baby. Come on down.
You got to convince me to go back to the gi.
You should fucking go back. It was.
If you stay in Vegas, maybe I'll do gi world again.
I'm not staying in Vegas, but
it is hot as fuck.
It is hot. I just think when you look at the landscape of things when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and back to the money thing, the IBJJF, I hope one day that they get enough viewership to be able to make money for the athletes.
Yeah.
You look at ADCC, if you win ADCC, it's $10,000, right? And you look at Craig Jones, CGI, yes, you win $1 million, but how sustainable is that? Right? Like, that's also the hardest thing.
Getting random investors.
Just get random investors. And eventually, don't get me wrong, there's probably Craig Jones might have a baby mama out in fucking Dubai, hopefully, that has $100 million just to fuck around.
It's good for 10, 20 years.
10, 20
We're
years.
Good.
Great. Then after that, you got to find the sponsorships, you got to find the viewership and all that stuff. But it's happened in mixed martial arts. You look at fucking Affliction. I don't know if you remember Affliction.
Yeah.
Affliction, they're paying
so much money, that Fedor, right?
Fedor, Andre Lassi making $1.2 million.
I was so excited when they had that car, I remember.
Yeah, and it's not around anymore.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing. So
it's not sustainable.
But I agree. But here's the thing that I always tell, people that are in jiu-jitsu is that, you want to build your brand. Once you've built your brand, you have your, your not seminars, but what do they call it? Your instructionals on BJJ Fanatics.
100%.
You have that. So you're making a lot of money there.
So it gives us many different avenues for money.
Exactly. And then
passive income and different things.
Passive income. And then you can also be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do a clothing line brand with Show Your Roll. I'm going to do my own gi. So you start finding these new things, and then you start building your brand outside of jiu-jitsu, right? That's one of the things I learned from being in mixed martial arts is I
feel like a lot of the jiu-jitsu guys aren't even marketable. They have no personality. They're kind of robots.
But I think they had to have the opportunity to be able to show their personality.
But a lot of them don't have a personality.
Well, that's their fucking fault.
No, that's what I mean. But I feel like they're just not marketable,
Yeah. Well, I was there.
Yeah.
I was.
Well, you have such a personality.
Well, I think
a lot of them, you're like, hey, how you doing? Hi.
Yeah.
I fight hard.
Yeah.
I train hard.
Yeah.
That's all they do.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think everybody has a personality. You just got to find the right thing to bring it out, right? For me, it's very hard to talk fighting with a random fan just because they're a fan. But, I have been doing jiu-jitsu as long as you have, but we both can make the same parallel communication because we both are intelligent when it comes to...
it's the concepts of martial arts. It's a deeper language that we're speaking.
Exactly, where it's very hard to make that connection.
100%.
Where people are like,
they just see moves. They don't see concepts. They don't see that deeper understanding.
Exactly, but once they're educated, they're like, oh my God.
Then they see our language. They speak our language.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, now let's get back to track. Let's talk about Gabriel Sousa. That was the first time, that
I went off.
Everyone talking crap. Oh, you couldn't beat him. There's no way. He's a division heavier than you. I just submitted him easy as
that you went off. I don't want to say you went off. I think your charisma,
I was authentic regardless.
You're authentic. Your juices, they're there.
Yep.
Right? I just think Gabriel Sousa was a bad guy.
Yeah.
Right? He was a bad guy, and you're coming after him, and you took him out. But
like the background of it a little bit.
Like the background of like there was a storyline, right? Because
so I'll rewind to like 2021. I was competing with Flow Grappling, who's number 1.
Yep.
And Flow Grappling came to me because I was sick. I was pretty sick. And they came to me, they're like, hey, Mikey, we need you to do this 155 tournament. And I was doing 35 at the time.
Yep.
And they're like, Gordon pulled out. We need you to do this tournament. If you do it for us, we'll make a 135 belt for you after. We'll give you like 2 or 3 matches after that if you do this match for us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sick. All right, fuck it.
Yeah.
So I do the match. I take the L, whatever.
Yep.
And then after that, I go back and I win Worlds like a month or 2 later at 125. Yeah, at 125.
Yep.
That was my last Worlds at 125. I waited in the gi at 125.
No, I fucking do that shit.
So, anyways, then after that, something I said wrong in an interview that he commented on every post. He kept subtly commenting on different things every time I won, like saying, oh, he should fight me again. Oh, this and that. And then I messaged him. I'm like, hey, dude, you beat me. Congratulations. You're a beast. You're amazing. You're the best in that division. You're one of the best guys. But right now I'm just focusing on my division.
Yep.
Like we could compete in the future maybe.
Yep.
But then he just kept poking me subtly, but then acting super respectful and fake at the same time. My brother.
Yeah.
Like that, that fake vibe.
Yeah.
So it just drove me crazy. So I'm just like, fuck this guy. Let's fight.
Yeah.
So I tell one championship, I'm like, hey, because I keep doing 135 and there's no one for me to compete with. All the people are declining matches with me.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and that's why MMA people, at least they were accepting matches, right? The jiu-jitsu people, we asked like all the top guys at 135, they all said no. So then I'm just sitting there, I'm like, guys, I want to compete. Just give me someone.
Yep.
And that's why Jared Brooks stepped in. So that's why, like, props to him.
that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's basically what was happening. We were like, Shachi's just telling me, like, dude, we can't get a match for you.
Shit, they asked my black ass. I told him the price. It goes, no, we can't do that. And I was like, okay, well, sounds good.
No,
I'm glad it didn't happen too, by the way.
No. But anyways, yeah, so then I asked for Baby Shark, who won ADCC the previous year.
Yep.
And we were supposed to fight originally December, January, February. Then he got injured, and he's like, oh, we'll do it in March. So I get to March. I've been in camp since November, since the Shinya match.
Yep.
And now he's like, we got to do it in April. So I go to April. Now I'm like, all right, we're ready to do the match?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they're like, actually, he doesn't want to do the match. Like, he said that he's on like he can't pass the drug test or whatever. So then I say, okay, fuck that. He doesn't have to take a drug test. Let's fight.
Yeah.
So then they go back to him and he declines and does who's number 1 instead. So then I'm just like, this motherfucker. Like I had to wait I imagine you in camp for 7 months where you're just in the grind. You know what I mean? Camps suck, right? When you're not doing anything else. And then the guy just pulls out. So I'm like, all right, just give me Gabriel Sousa, because I wanted to fight him for like a year.
Yep.
And I kept asking them. They're like, no, because could he do 135? So I go to Gabriel. I message him multiple times because I talked to him privately. I'm, dude, can he do 135?
Yeah.
Like, they won't let me go to your division.
Yeah.
So then he's like, bro, I can't make it. So then I beg Leo, the vice president, I'm like, please, can I just do 145 this one time?
Yep.
So they're like, all right, fuck it, because Baby Shark pulled out. They're like, fuck it, you can do the fight.
Yeah.
So I finally got the match with Gabriel after that time, and I gave him that opportunity to be on that platform one.
Yep.
So I was trying to bury the hatchet, like have some nice feelings for him, giving him exposure. I even said to him, now you can build your brand on the biggest platform.
Yeah. Oh, he's keep on going.
But that was my mindset doing it. Like I want to help these guys build their brand too. Baby Shark, Gabriel Sousa.
Yep.
And Baby Shark, I'll keep going because my ADHD jumps.
You're fine. I'm with you, baby.
So then what happens with Gabriel Sousa, then he gets there. I'm like, what's up, dude? And like, he's just douchey as fuck. Like just walking like this with me. And then like in the face off, he's like this to me. I look him in the eyes, like before in the face off, I'm just like this to him. And I could feel like how he's trying to overcompensate and douchier with me.
Yeah. And
just to add some background, 5 of my close friends competed with Gabriel, and he was very douchey to them. He gave one of my friends a concussion, dropping them on their head. One of my friends, he was like really fake nice to. Then he called him a pussy after my friend beat him. But like, just constant things like this with this guy, So I don't know. In my post-fight speech, I exaggerated words because I was just emotional.
Yeah.
But it was 100% authentic. He's a douche to me.
Of course.
So And that was my only mistake. My formal logic was off. I used extreme words instead of every. I should have used some.
No,
and I should have
okay.
not cursed as much for like children watching. Like I
Nah,
felt
fuck
bad.
that shit. I cuss in front of my kids all the time. They're gonna hear it anyways. The way
I
this
love
society
cursing,
is.
but
yeah. So, Mikey, I feel you have this problem, and I think it's a good problem, right? And I think the only thing that's stopping this problem is just you not being able to let the reins go. What your problem is that no one wants to fight you. No one wants to fight you, and I don't blame them because you're really fucking good.
I'm trying though. I'm going up different weights.
No.
doing different things.
What I'm getting at is that, okay, let's say you get an offer. Somebody, okay, hey, you're going to fight Mikey Musumeci. And they're like, okay, how much am I going to make? Oh, you're going to make $5,000. $5,000 ain't shit. Nowadays. That's, I mean.
For jiu-jitsu people, they're like, oh my God,
Yeah,
$5,000.
Yeah, how old are you? 19 years old?
No, but for those jiu-jitsu people, that's how bad our sport is with money. That's half of ADCC's winning.
Yeah, but
the ADCC, the biggest tournament.
But that's what I mean. Like if you're making $5,000 to grapple somebody, you make.
There's 4 matches in ADCC, 10K to win, right? So 4 divided by 10. How much is that per match?
Yeah, it's fucking what?
2,500 a match.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like I'm looking at like you make more money working at fucking McDonald's than going and training 8 weeks, right? So you got to make it more of an incentive.
You know how many times I just wanted to go to law school instead of this? Like that's why I was like, oh fuck this. I gotta just be a lawyer.
Your sister's all like this. Oh, look at all this money, Mikey. It doesn't look good. You're like, shut up, sister. Fuck you. But I mean, like that's the problem I feel like you're running into, right? You're so good that they're not getting. Obviously, we understand the platform, right? And it's a big platform. But if you go out there and you're slaughtered on a platform, it's like that person's never good, right? And it's like, will we ever see Gabriel Sousa again to compete in one championship? Probably not.
Probably not.
Will we ever see any other guys that you beat compete at one championship ever again? Probably not, right? I mean, that's the
But what I'm saying is I respected Gabriel enough to give him the chance to have that opportunity. So I had some mutual respect for him in that way.
Yeah.
And then he goes on an interview and says, oh, he told me he was sick when he fought me. I told him that like 4 years later when he kept talking shit and saying I was crying when I lost to him, shit like this.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, fuck this guy. Dude, I was fucking sick. Everyone around me was telling Gabriel this. Like everyone knew I was sick.
Yeah.
And then obviously I was sick because he was the easiest match and won for me. Because something I hate when people discredit my opponents. You know, like they say, oh, they were an easy match for me. Like he kept saying that all my opponents were easy. No one was my level. So then I went on and I fucked him up worse than all my other opponents.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, really? They were easy for me? What about you?
Well, I
So
think
that's why I had that energy, you know.
Yeah.
I'm the most respectful kind guy, win or lose.
Yeah.
Anyone that's beat me, I'm good friends with them, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm cool with them, like because I'm not competing with anyone personally, just myself.
Yep.
I'm trying to be the best I could be, and I'm always challenging myself.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for the person helping me.
Yeah.
But if someone's a douche like that to me, like that crazy rebel part of me comes out, and I could have controlled it better. I could have spoke better.
You did it well.
But I'm just saying. And then after he played victim and went on and said, Mikey made that all up. I did nothing with him. I'm so respectful. This and that. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. You showed him.
But the typical bully, they play victim after being an asshole.
Yeah. Well, I think, like I said, I think it all comes down to that's the hardest thing for you right now is that nobody wants to fight you. And then if they do get the opportunity to fight you, the money is not worth it. Yeah. And it's the cards are stacked. They might look at it as their cards are stacked against them, right? So I think the biggest thing that could be a good thing in your brand is that you go after everybody. But it's something that, do you want to do it, right? It's like
I'm trying now, right? Like I literally said to Shachi, hey, can I fight the current, who's the top 2 guys? Baby Shark and Cade Ruto. They both won ADCC 66, 77.
Yep.
I literally asked for both back to back.
Yeah, but
so people saying I'm looking for easy fights or whatever, there's nothing more I could do harder than that, right?
What's keeping you from that is that you have to ask granted, we're under contract, right? It's the one thing in mixed martial arts, every organization, UFC, PFL, Bellator, Ryzen, one championship where if you were able to, like, I would love to see Anatoly fight, Alex Pereira.
Oh, yeah, different organization.
Different organization, right?
They got us from doing different things. Yeah, it stopped
exactly
us.
Right. You have to go ask Chatri, hey, can I fight these guys and bring them to one championship? You bring them to one championship, then there's all this money involved. The Baby Shark or Mika Gaboa is like, I want this much money. And Chatri's like, that's way too much money. But you're like, you know what? Because obviously, I'm assuming money isn't an issue for you. You're a single guy.
I don't care about
the
money.
You don't care about the money, right?
I even said this to Gabriel. I told him, I took half the amount of money I take in a match just to do that match with Gabriel.
Wow.
So just for him to have the opportunity to face me.
Yeah.
So I went up in weight. took half the money I usually make just for him to have the match. And then he acts like a douche to me. So I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So the first thing I do when I submit him, I go up to him and I say, hey, you see I was sick now, huh?
Yeah.
And then he just looks at me like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think if you want that, you can hunt. You be the hunter. Was like, okay, you don't want to
But
come.
all these guys are on so much steroids. Also, the only I'm going up the Cade. He's not on steroids. He's the natural champion.
Exactly.
So I respect him probably more than all the other people in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is on so much steroids. So I'm gonna go up with all the cards stacked against me while these guys are all just juiced to the gills and they don't even want to take drug tests to fight me.
Yeah. So, but after, let's move past the Gabriel fight, right? Now, let's say after the Gabriel fight, we're gonna lose or draw. Then who's going to want to fight you? Then I think you become the hunter. You're like, you know what? I'm going to go do ADCC. You know what? I'm going to join.
10K.
I thought you said money wasn't a thing.
It's not a thing, but that's ridiculous. What the fuck? I need some money, right?
I right? He's like, my fucking training camp. But it's all dependent on what you. This is what I think of, right? When I sit back and I'm like, okay,
why not just fight the winner of ADCC always? You know, like
yeah, if you could do that, yeah.
No, but then I'm helping them build their brand, right? And all the guys I'm fighting, for example, the top guys, they have like 20,000 followers, 30,000 followers.
Yeah.
I have over 700,000 followers. So for me, I'm just building their brand.
1,000%.
And nobody, the MMA segment, not the jiu-jitsu segment, they're like, who is that guy? Nobody knows.
Yep.
So I have to build them up. Help them get the following.
Yep.
You know, so
Yep.
it's everything is on me to do.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, I understand you're in a very hard situation. And if I was in your position, which I'm not, if I didn't have
Get heavier and just fight the heavier people.
I'm being dead ass fucking serious. If I was, you're 28.
Yeah.
If I was 28, if I had your skills, I had no wife and no 3 kids, I would be hunting these motherfuckers down. I'm being dead ass serious.
Fucking awesome.
That's why I do jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I do jiu-jitsu and I join these tournaments. This would be my 3rd jiu-jitsu tournament, but I'm only doing worlds to test myself to see.
That's what I learned about you. Like even training with you and how you are, you're just seeking different things to like new highs, new goals. A lot of people, they don't have that fire in them to keep doing new things, new challenges.
Yeah.
You're the best at MMA and you went to a new sport completely.
Yep.
To work your way up again.
Yep.
And that's what you love, the working up, the come up, right?
Yes.
And that's what gives me a high also.
Yes. And like I said, the roles were reversed. I would be hunting these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Just like I said, it's all dependent on what you want to do.
Well, I've been training so hard, you know, like I think that's definitely a good path for me.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's just keep showcasing jiu-jitsu in my division, you know?
Yep.
Because I still have that responsibility for us to keep showing people what jiu-jitsu is.
Yeah, you show them by hunting motherfuckers down. That's what you do.
David Goliath vibe.
Because you can't, because I have the same responsibility. I did when I was at the UFC flyweight champion. Oh, it's your responsibility to build this division.
And it puts a lot of pressure on you, right?
It put a lot of pressure on me.
Like if I don't submit the person, I instantly know I let Chatri down and I failed. Like I literally would cry after like I lost.
You
if I don't
can't do
submit.
that. You can't do that.
No, but that's how much pressure I put on myself in these matches.
Nah,
you know?
you need to sit back and say, fuck that. You're going to go out there and do your thing.
But that's what made my level so much better. Because I put so much pressure on myself to sub these matches. Because the IBJJF mentality, you win by an advantage or so, like you're like, yeah, I won.
Yeah.
But then what happens is that gets boring real quick.
Yeah.
And then you lose the high of it because that you didn't submit the person. So
Yeah.
then now my mentality is I have to submit the person like to get that high.
Yeah.
You know, or I mentally am in my mind, I'm like, oh, you didn't do good enough. You didn't do good enough.
You're a druggie.
No, I'm definitely a drug junkie.
You're a druggie.
We're always seeking adrenaline
junkie.
dopamine.
Yep. Well, I just think for you to have that pressure that it's your responsibility to build the division, I don't think it is. Your responsibility is to make sure you build your brand as biggest as you can.
But most of the guys are not going to look for the finish. They're just going to be there to fight and like stall. And if I do the same match as them, I just fight smart.
Yeah.
And then I win.
Yeah.
Now I didn't help our sport grow. So now I made money. I didn't help the sport grow. So now it's my fault. So I always feel that pressure.
Who says that? Who said it's your fault? Who the fuck says that?
Myself.
No, you need to look that person in the mirror. And the reason why I say this is that if you keep it on, and somebody else might have a totally different thing, right? I've been in mixed martial arts for 18 years, 20 years.
But don't you think it helps mixed martial arts that it's actually violent with the punches and
No,
the kicks?
no.
Like people instantly that don't know what MMA is, they can watch by, oh, there's punching, there's kicks. It's an easier thing to just instantly watch and be connected to.
I'm not focused on, I understand what you're getting at, but we're talking about the response. It's your responsibility to build the sport. Right? Like let's
to keep us on this platform where people are making money, so then other athletes could come eventually make money. That's how I see it.
Exactly, eventually. But
Because if I do a bad job and Rutolas do a bad job, now we're fucked. And now we're back to square one with IBJJF and ADCC. You know what I mean?
I just still feel that it's not your guys' responsibilities. Like when I sit down and when you compete at one championship or, CGI, ADCC, you put way too much stress on yourself, right? But you've done more than enough than half the motherfuckers have done to build the sport of jiu-jitsu, right? Like if you truly want to build the sport, then you'll be like, hey, I'm going to open up a gym and a camp and build the next generation of jiu-jitsu players, right? Because nobody is going to be as good as you, because how many hours a week do you train?
A week?
A week.
A day, like if I'm studying footage, everything total, 10 to 12 hours.
10 to 12 hours. To get to your level, right? There's no way somebody can do that. Right? But the one thing you do have is you have the gift of teaching. Now, I think if you spent a year
learning how to teach and
open your own school, you're going to build, and then you'll be like, hey, look at my team. Look at what my team has done. I've taken a kid. I not only didn't build his, his jiu-jitsu game, but I also built his intelligence. He has self-worth. He's going to get bullied. The value. He gets all these values.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You do that for a year. Or you kick ass for a year, I think you're going to build the sport of jiu-jitsu, my personal opinion, way further, because they'll be like, holy shit, look at this kid. This kid comes from Mikey Musumeci. That's DARTH RIGATONI's Padawan, right? That builds way more. Your footprint's going to be bigger than you slaying people. So when I hear that, oh, if you don't finish this person, you're not building the sport of jiu-jitsu. Oh, you know how many people have finished people in mixed martial arts, and how many motherfuckers I finish in mixed martial arts? You think that's building the sport? You think I help Alex Pantoja? Do you think I help Henry Cejudo? You think, no, I didn't help those guys.
Well, you literally had when UFC created the 125 division, it was all on you to keep that division alive. So you had so much pressure at that time.
I mean, I had pressure, but at the same time,
if you would have had boring fights, the division could have died.
But see, I fucked people up. That's different.
No, and that's what saved the division.
No. But it never translated over to the pay-per-view dollars, right?
I'm just saying that you did so much for that division to keep it alive.
Yeah.
And if you would have not been killing people like that, if you had a boring game or something, it would have been fucked. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I was killing everybody, and Hitta said it was boring. They even said it was boring. Maybe I'd have got my ass beat. Maybe I would have helped it a little more. I mean, you just never know. So when you have all that pressure on yourself, because think about this, you can just keep destroying people over and over and over and over and over again.
But it's so empty, that feeling. Like it just is, if it's the same people. That's why I'm doing new things like Cade.
No.
These different things. Can I beat him? I don't know. That's why those highs and uncertainty is what I'm seeking now to get a new high.
Now, Mikey, you all over the fucking place. We're talking about your responsibility for you to build the fucking sport. We're done with your drilling.
You know how many messages I get every day? Like people like, oh, I just started jiu-jitsu because I saw your match from one. So it is helping us grow the sport.
Absolutely. So what's next to grow the sport?
I don't know. It's just me being frequent, just me constantly competing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that's what I love. One thing that I love about jiu-jitsu is that you guys get to compete as much as you want.
MMA people, you can't. You have to rest. Like your brains, there's so much damage.
Yes.
Well, not you. You never fucking got hit or anything.
But there was damage when I did fight, because when you beat somebody up, you still take damage. But I feel that that's the one thing that hurts a lot of guys in jiu-jitsu. My personal opinion, right, is that if you can grapple, let's say you and Kate grapple, boom.
You could be next week again.
Boom, you could, and then it's like, you know what? I'm gonna go compete at ADCC. You go to Abu Dhabi, you compete there. Boom, boom. The next thing you know what? I think I'm gonna do gi. I'm gonna go compete at just random stuff. Boom, you're competing there, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like Mikey's fucking all over the place. He keeps on da. But
you think that's bad?
I think it's great.
Oh, I thought you were just saying that's a problem.
I think that's the problem, that you guys won't get to compete enough.
Oh, that we don't compete enough. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like
I was in camp for 7-8 months without getting to compete. And I was peaking that whole time, ready to fight.
You're just waiting.
So that made me insane. It makes you crazy just waiting.
Yeah.
And I took it out on Gabriel being crazy.
Yeah.
And then he got me extra crazy from that.
I just think the biggest thing for me, as I sit out and I look at the jiu-jitsu guys, and I always say that I feel like IBJJF, those tournaments
consistent, and we could compete more.
But I think they have the best grapplers there, because
people sign up to enroll.
Sign up and enroll, and they're doing it for fun. But you think about it, how many matches have you done to win a world championship in IBJJF?
5
in one day.
Yep.
Right?
I've done 7 to win worlds. In purple worlds, you fight for 8 hours straight.
Exactly, right? That's a gauntlet. You're not going to get
You
that.
don't even warm up anymore. You just lay on the floor dead. They call you again. You get up and fight like you're a zombie.
Yeah, like I've done my, I've done 3 tournaments now, and it is nothing compares to it. Nothing truly
the
does.
lower belts in like IBJJF, the vibe of it's like, in Saving Private Ryan, like on D-Day, the beginning of the movie, where the soldiers just go out and die. That's our vibe, the lower belts. They just throw us out to die. You have like 7-8 hours of fighting.
Yeah.
It's basically like that.
Wow. Okay, so what's next? Do you ever think about crossing over and doing mixed martial arts?
It's definitely an idea of mine to do. Right now I can't practice any stand-up because of how hard this training has been for Cade and these opponents, So I feel like I got this far in Jiu-Jitsu. I have to maximize how far I could go.
Yeah.
So once I feel like I maximized the amount that I want to go in Jiu-Jitsu, then I want to learn to do something new like you.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I have a little more to go to get there. I don't know when, but when I feel I maximize, then I'm ready to learn and do that next path.
Gotcha. Why haven't you done ADCC?
So ADCC, the last, my whole career, I was competing 125, 135. ADCC is 145 day before weigh-ins with, the water cut. So mostly 160s guys.
Gotcha.
They're on steroids. Wrestling is even harder with bigger guys. So, because it's submission wrestling, the tournament.
Yep.
So I always asked them for a lighter division, Then what happened is, just circling back to Baby Shark.
Yep.
After that happened, he made a post calling me out for an MMA fight or to fight me first round at ADCC. After I tried getting him 20 times the amount of winning ADCC to help him make money.
Yeah.
Then he calls me out, let's fight first round at ADCC. I'm like, why would we do that? So it was just weird. And, but yeah, the rule set of ADCCs are very wrestling based, and it's 160. If they had one lighter weight class, I would have done it all that time, know. The last ADCC that I got a lot of shit for, I had my appendix bursted. I almost died.
Oh, wow.
And then they expected me to do ADCC when I was 130, 128. That's when I fought for the belt against Kleber.
Yep.
So I was supposed to go up 30 pounds and fight, and then I got so much hate for that.
How much do you walk around at?
Right now I'm 47.
47, and is that hard?
Maybe 45. When I'm just eating, maybe in the more after eating, probably 47, 48. But
so you probably wake up at 142 in the morning.
43, 44.
43.
Yeah.
Is it very hard for you to put weight on?
It's pretty hard. I'm forcing food down, but I'm having trouble eating now. I'm getting nauseous a lot.
Because you usually eat one time a day.
Yeah. I like being skinny.
Yeah.
So now that I'm trying to eat more protein and stuff, I'm kind of just disgusted with food. I like not eating all day and just eating at night. It makes you very skinny, but that's bad for us right now. So I'm like, Mike, you got to eat again. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, it's a job. It's a chore. It's to put weight on and muscle on, you have to eat. You got to give your body the calories.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever do ADCC?
I think that maybe in the future, if they do a super fight, or if they make a lighter division, or maybe just to challenge myself to do the 145, I would do it. But just for 10K right now to build my brand, it's not going to build my brand just beating those random guys that none of them have a big following.
Yeah.
There's no for me, oh, I got to do that to win, have that fire I did when I was a kid for winning IBJJF Worlds.
Gotcha. Man, it's hard because I feel so many different vibes. Not different vibes. I feel so many
uncertainty, right? I don't really know.
Not uncertainty. It's I know. I feel this. I feel there's a businessman side of you.
Trying at least.
No, it's actually smart. There's a businessman side of you. There's a brand. The brand and business are the same thing, and then we have this competitor side of you where I feel okay, the challenge, seeking that new high. Okay, Mikey's gonna go to ADCC 2 years. Everybody's on steroids. Everybody's fucking juice.
Yeah. So do I just give those people recognition and stuff and build their brands when they're all cheating and they're kind of scum?
And that's when the businessman steps in.
Just morally, ethically wrong.
But as an athlete and competitor.
And then all of them hate me. I get so much hate from these people. Oh, he's crazy. He's this. He's that.
Oh yeah, they come for you.
So, 90, the whole community against me.
Yeah.
So it sucks when the whole community is fucked up and you're the bad guy because you're just speaking good things.
Why do you think the community is after you? Why do you think?
Because I'm trying to change it. They don't like change. They want everything to stay the same. They want it to be acceptable that kids take steroids. They want no drug testing. All these things they're for.
Yeah.
But everything's double standards in jiu-jitsu. Even one championship, I got so much shit for 2 years going to one and not doing IBJJF and those tournaments.
Yeah.
Because I started making money.
Yeah.
And then what happened was CJI came, and then all the competitors dropped out of ADCC, went to CJI.
I don't blame them.
And then you know what they said?
What?
why would we do ADCC? We're making money. But the same people talk shit about me for doing one making money.
Yeah.
So I'm like, guys, what the fuck?
So do you think...
everything's double standards, even guard pulling.
Yeah.
You know what? You see now a lot of D1 wrestlers like from Penn State. RBY was training with me. I'm friends with him. I think he's going to come back to Vegas and train with me more. But all these guys are coming to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So the jiu-jitsu phase right now of wrestling, look at us, we're doing wrestling.
Yep.
They're all going to be guard pullers.
Yep.
There's no fucking way they're going to be wrestling with D1 wrestlers. Am I right? Am I right? No. So the trend of jiu-jitsu right now, that shit's gay, pulling guard, this and that.
No.
The second those D1 wrestlers are in jiu-jitsu, they're all playing guard.
Yeah.
If they like it or not.
Well, I think we discussed the whole guard pulling today, right? Like we
No, but you know what I mean. Like so everything I'm noticing in jiu-jitsu, there's double standards. People talk shit about things. Then the second something else happens, then they flip and they're like, so it's not real. Like they don't stay with their stance.
Do you think money is going to destroy jiu-jitsu?
I think money is going to grow jiu-jitsu because once we have legit drug testing, we could change it like MMA. Because MMA at one point was all steroids too, right?
Yep.
And then we could flip it, make it actually a legitimate sport and have rankings and stuff like that. Again, building people's brands is hard for me. Like I'm stuck in that spot. I always feel all that pressure and responsibility. I know you're telling me I don't have to deal with it.
We'll talk about that off camera.
Yes.
Like
no, but I'm learning so much from you.
I feel like your brand is about to peak super high.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because you're getting more exposure of your personality, and
I'm just being real. Like you just stop caring at one point and you're just authentic. You just let it out.
This man's going to the dark side. I can see I can see young Mighty in you already. When I was like, man, fuck this, man. Everyone's like, I'm more popular now in my career and I haven't fought in a year and a half. Just because I'm just open about things, and
people connect you like your character, your person, you know.
Probably.
Like, you're not just a robot fighter, you know. Like you have some personality, and people love that part of you.
But Michael, why would you say that? You know, you said this before, but why would you say that my personality, my brand's a lot bigger now than when I was fighting full time?
Matt didn't like you talking at all.
Really? He said, "Shut the fuck up and indie focus."
Yeah, shut the fuck up and just win this fight. And Matt did say, he goes, "Just shut the fuck up and win the fight, and we're good to go." And then we'll go back to the gym. He goes, "Man, maybe you should talk more." And I was like, "Nah, I don't want to, because you're gonna kick my ass when you get back here."
That's hilarious.
But I mean, I feel when I'm hearing I asked that question, like, do you think money can destroy jiu-jitsu? And the reason why I asked that is because you said that, you know, a lot of people would do ADCC. This is before CGI became, right? And everybody would do ADCC. They're all, you know, okay with making $1,000, right? Now you have one championship. They're making, you know, if you submit somebody great, you get $50K. I haven't seen another motherfucker get $50,000. That isn't Rotolo and the Mikey, right? So that's only, I feel people might look at that. It's like, well, of course, you know, I think with somebody else who can go to one championship on that platform and be able to build a name for themselves in the jiu-jitsu community, and they're able to build up their brand, I think people will kind of ease off on that. That's my personal opinion.
I
right?
think that it's kind of like professional. I see one is professional, and I see IBJJF Worlds, ADCC, the top competition. But they're tournaments still, amateur tournaments to build your brand to get professional.
Yeah, but I think when I see this, I look at you as do you ever see Deadpool Wolverine yet?
No, not yet.
Oh God, I don't want to ruin it. But they helmed somebody there, Marvel Jesus, meaning that you know he's the creation. He saved Marvel. And when I look at you and I seen all the things you've done in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and IBJJF and all the, you know, who's number one, et cetera. Now that you are trying to go make money and build your brand, everybody is shaming you.
Yeah, I'm getting shamed.
I
get hated on so much for trying to make money.
Exactly. So when I hear that, I feel like if you were just like, you know what, guys, let's say there was no money involved. I'm going to go compete at one championship. I'm going to go compete at ADCC, IBJJF. I love you. I've done everything here. There's no money. Would they still shame you the same way? Right? So if you throw money...
No, because I'm giving them exposure. It all has to do with these people losing the opportunity to build exposure, beating me.
Yeah.
So in jiu-jitsu, this is a big problem in jiu-jitsu, actually, just so you understand. In IBJJF Worlds, for example, there's always a legend that won Worlds like 4 or 5 times. If they consistently keep competing, then somebody has the chance to beat them and build their brand off of that win.
Just like mixed martial arts.
But what happens if that legend retires? They lost a chance to build their brand off of that guy. Now the division's kind of dead. And everyone knows, that guy would still beat those people. So I feel like that's a big problem for us in jiu-jitsu.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story, a good story.
I'm curious your opinion on that. That's accurate.
It's a great point. It's a great viewpoint. So at one point in time in the UFC wasn't as big as it is today. And at the very beginning of the UFC, when it got super popular, you had guys like Rich Franklin, Chuck Liddell, Matt Hughes, Tim Sylvia. You had all those fucking guys. Randy Couture, all those legends.
OG time. That's when I watched
OG guys, right?
TRT's digging the grave.
Yeah. But before that time, it was the UFC. But then you had these superstars come on the scene. Rich Franklin was more popular, right? When you see Rich Franklin, you wouldn't say, oh, he's a UFC fighter. You'd be like, that's Rich Franklin. Right? You see Chuck Liddell, the Iceman. Oh, Chuck Liddell, Iceman. You wouldn't say, oh, that's a UFC fighter.
Like, you don't associate them with the brand, the UFC, just themselves as a person.
Yep. I'm gonna get to that point. Sorry. You said that. You relax now. Let Daddy read the story, okay? Then eventually the UFC saw that. They're like, these stars are bigger than the brand itself. So ever since that point, now you look at it, you see Ilya Topuria walking down the street. That's the UFC champion. You look at Max Holloway. Oh, obviously it's Max Holloway, but if you took a lot of the UFC guys, you're like, that's a UFC fighter. People don't even recognize as a sport as mixed martial arts. They recognize UFC. So the UFC, and Michael always talks about it, I'm sick and tired of all these bullshit UFC cards. People still watch them. Guess what? Because the UFC brand is so fucking big that if John Jones never fights again, the UFC is going to be fine. If Conor McGregor or just Michael Chandler, the brand is so fucking high that you can have so many D-level, like very low-level guys on the card. Yeah. It will continue to build this brand.
It's like a shitty movie with like big famous actors in it. People watch the movie even if the movie's shit, but the big famous actors are in it and like, oh, that actor's in it, and then you might watch it.
I think it's the opposite.
What? What's the big actor name?
No, because
underpay the actor.
Yeah, underpay the actor. No, because think about it,
like if Ed Norton does a movie, it's like, oh, Ed Norton's in that movie.
I'm gonna watch it, but I'm gonna watch it just because Ed Norton's in it. That was the old school way, right? Yeah. But now you want to be the opposite, right? If you can get all the shittiest guys on a UFC pay-per-view card or one championship card or whoever, and you still sell 500,000 pay-per-view, that's a fucking big W because your payout to pay those athletes is very minimal. But if you have to pay Conor McGregor to be on a fucking card, that's gonna be at least $5 million. Granted, you're gonna make more, but you can't do that consistently, right? Yeah. Like you can't consistently do that. So what a businessman wants to do is like, how can I build a brand as big as possible? Right? Because I'm not going to have Mikey fight every single card.
You can't bang on that person.
I can't bang on you. If I rely on you to build my brand
and you leave, then it's done.
Then it's fucking done. Yeah. Right? And that's the thing. That's what I learned. It's like, if I don't continue to fight, how am I going to keep on building my brand? Yeah. How am I going to I can't fight till I'm 45 or 48, 49, 50. But if I can build my brand, like breaking down content, I got the exposure of Mikey. Let me show you guys how fucking good he is. And you guys think I'm good? You think I'm good at jiu-jitsu? Right? There's a different fucking level, right? And then the exposure that I got from you, I put it on my Instagram. I released a video, and people were like, holy shit, Mikey's fucking working the GOAT in jiu-jitsu. Holy shit, I'm gonna go follow Mikey Musumeci, right? I'm building my brand.
And that's why you're helping us grow the jiu-jitsu so much.
Exactly.
You, Mark Zuckerberg, also, he helps grow jiu-jitsu so much too.
Yeah.
You know, like famous people that weren't from jiu-jitsu coming into our sport, you're helping us so much.
Yep, like Tom Hardy. You got Mario Lopez.
Tom Hardy was in my garage.
Yep, I saw that. It's just so many different things, but I think, bringing back the full context of thing of like having a responsibility to build your division or build jiu-jitsu, you're doing that by just competing. Right? My personal opinion. Somebody else might say something totally fucking different, right?
But it even sucks for me. Like, for example, if I have an opponent, they'll talk crap to me.
Yep.
And they have no followers.
That's fine.
So if I respond, even if it's shit, now they won because now they get like all this boost because I'm responding. Yeah. So then what do? I just stay quiet?
You just don't fight anymore.
It's just frustrating,
It's frustrating. You just don't. It's like you have the Conor McGregor effect. You got the red paint on. You fight Mikey. You fight me.
Especially with the little guys. There's no other big name little guy right now.
Exactly. Like I said, you're at that point in your career where it's very hard to find people who would fight you.
I'm gonna retire and do gi with you.
Yeah, you should.
We'll do gi rounds.
You should. But I think if you did that, like it's a very hard situation, and I think that eventually you will navigate it because the Rotolo brothers are going to have the same thing. That's why they're getting an opportunity to make $1 million.
Yeah.
Right? There's no other competition out there. They're going to make $1 million.
And they're helping so much CJI also because they're big names.
They're big names.
Helping build other athletes.
Exactly.
But at least they're getting financial incentive to do that.
Exactly.
Give me $1 million and I'll help you build other people's names.
Honestly, I'm going to lie. When I saw that you were in it, I was like, oh my God, I hope he fucking goes in the lower 80.
Oh, the 180 division.
Because, that's fucking... Get out, dog. I think it's the opportunity for you to win $1 million is great. You win that. I mean, I know one championship paying $1 million. I know ADCC ain't paying $1 million. I know fucking shit. Even in the UFC, ain't nobody making $1 million. Let's use John Jones, Izzy, Kamara, those bigger guys, right? So I think for the opportunity to make $1 million CGI, I hope CGI 2 happens. 3, 4, 5, 6, 4. I hope it continues to happen.
You know something interesting I was thinking about? Tell me your thoughts on this. So in boxing, like Mayweather, those people, they made the most money, right? And they're small guys.
Yep.
How come boxing was able to make the small guys make money, but the big guys in every other sport, like they're like the most respected? And
I think my personal opinion, so the first thing you had in boxing is you had the Muhammad Ali Act. You know what that is?
Oh, the shit talk, the McGregor, right? How they talk shit, they build the matches, they make a story.
So the Muhammad Ali Act basically protects the champion. So for example,
oh, it's actually an act, like it's an actual thing.
It's an actual thing.
Oh, okay.
So right now you're the champion in one championship, but you cannot go fight anywhere else unless you ask Chachi for permission. But let's say you become the champion. You're like, I'm the champion. You and Cade are about to fight. So you and Cade go, hey, me and Cade are about to fight right now. Who wants to put this fight on? CJI is like, we'll pay you guys both $2 million each. One championship goes, well, we can't match that. We'll pay you guys both $150K each. UFC Fight Pass goes, we'll pay you both $10 million. You also get concessions, da-da-da-da-da.
But even if we're under contract with one, we could do that?
That's what the Muhammad Ali Act does, is that you're not locked under that contract.
Why are you not locked under the contract?
Because imagine that. You're the biggest brand right now.
So did Katie and me fuck up? We could have made millions. I'm kidding.
No, you're absolutely right. You're on a contract. That's how it works, right? They put that contract in place to protect the champion set because your value is set to that contract.
Yeah.
But if you were about to go, me, Kate are about to fight, who's going to pay us the most money to fight? Craig Jones is like,
got you guys.
Boys, hey, let me tell you right now, I could change your life with $2 million each.
He opens a briefcase.
He opens a briefcase. That's what the Muhammad Ali Act does, right?
Wow.
That's one of the things that Matt Hume always wanted in mixed martial arts. He goes, you guys need to act because for example, let's say the biggest fight.
That's boxing, basically. That's boxing.
That's boxing.
And that's why there's more money in boxing because of
for those guys. So, for example, Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin. Now, there's rules and contracts with Bob Arum and all that stuff, right? But Floyd Mayweather will come as Mayweather promotion. Then you would have, I don't know who would he fight. Let's just say Gervonta Davis. I'm just throwing it out there, right? You have Mayweather promotion and Gervonta Davis promotion coming together. A side, B side. HBO Max, do you want this fight?
Oh, they sell it to somebody. Showtime, Max.
HBO. And then they're like, hey, HBO's going to pay $50 million.
So they're freelancers, essentially.
You are a freelancer. Do you have a W-2? Do you get W-2?
Yes.
You what? Oh,
taxes, right?
God damn it.
W-2 is taxes.
That would be 1099.
Oh.
You're a self-contractor, right?
We got that.
A real job, right? It benefits, right? So right now,
no, definitely not.
We're all subcontractors. We're all subcontractors, right? Like you probably have. I'm assuming you're probably an S corporation or LLC, Mikey Musumeci.
Yeah, S corp.
Yeah, S corporation, right? So you're contracted through one championship to provide X amount of fights. Yeah. Once you executed all those fights, and then you're a free agent, you go where the fuck you want, right? Yeah. So imagine if you was like, hey, I'm gonna do one. I learned this from Eddie Alvarez. He goes, the first thing I do when I get in contract, I figure out the fastest way how to get out of it, right? Because he believes his brand's gonna be bigger once he fights.
Yeah.
And it was true. He made more money in bare knuckle fighting than he did in mixed martial arts.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Wow. Because he became such a big brand. He was.
Well, if any of them fight Logan Paul, they make so much money, right?
Exactly.
Their whole MMA career for nothing.
But there you go. You have Jake Paul, most valuable promotion.
Yeah.
Fighting Mike Perry. Who's going to buy it? DAZN bought it. So DAZN is going to pay those guys so they can add for more money.
So the fighters are basically the organization, essentially.
1,000%.
Wow.
So I learned this
and that's the difference between UFC, these other things, and MMA. So MMA is not based like that, but that's how boxing is. That's why there's so much more money in boxing.
Not really, because there's only a top few percent.
The 1%.
The 1% who are making that money.
Me, like the small, super small scope. But
that's the ultimate goal. My personal opinion, right? I might get a lot of hate from this, from the organization and whatnot.
No, but we're just keeping it real.
I think at the end of the day, the athletes, I met a basketball player, Dwight Howard. I was sitting there. We're at the UFC event. And he goes, you see all this shit right here? You see all this? You think these guys are here for Dana White? You think this guy's here for fucking Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard, all those guys? You think these guys are here for the matchmakers? No, they're here for you guys. You guys should be getting way more of the pie. You guys need to, unionize and come together.
But I also think that the fighters have to do their part to build their brand, because
Yes.
if they expect the promotion to build their brand up from nothing, and then for them to expect that, then it's like not really that cool, right? It's like both perspectives.
It's hard because
You have to have a balance, I say.
a balance, right? But we're in this conversation about like, first we started about the Muhammad Ali Act.
Yeah.
Why is there so much more money in boxing?
And it's basically because of that. That's
Well,
beautiful.
That's one thing. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, look at that mindset. It's like, hey, you're at the highest peak of your brand right now, but your money is guaranteed. Your contract might say, Mikey, you're gonna make 30 in the show, 30 to win, so 60K, right? But once again, you got to find somebody else out there who's going to be willing to pay that much money, right? It's a very hard thing to navigate. And that's one of the things that I learned from Matt. Matt was like, you guys need a Muhammad Ali Act. You guys are getting fucked right now. He goes, if you can go, me and him are going to do the third match. Me and him, we're going to fight for a third time. Let's shop and see who's going to pay us the most money. Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal.
Yes, yeah.
Same thing they did.
Wow, they did the league act.
They're like, hey, who wants to hold it? It was Famio. Famio took over. Wow. I don't know how much money they made, but he made like fucking.
So that's the path for jiu-jitsu, you would say?
No, God, no, because there's not enough.
In the future, if we could get to that point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
but everything, MMA, jiu-jitsu, everything. That's the
that would be
path.
the golden path. But once again,
We have to build brands. We have to build people's names.
People's names. You still need to fill the rest of the card up, right? So it's a very hard thing, and that would be my ultimate goal for everybody in the sport of jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts. Boxing's already there to build their brand, but that's why it's important that people do the best they can to build their brand, not just fight all the time, because you're killing everybody right now, right? And I think your brand is starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to continue to grow, right? And like you said, you are going to have those people who goes, man, should I fight this guy that nobody knows? Because there's always a bigger fish in the sea.
Yeah.
Always a bigger fish in the sea.
There's always someone training harder. There's always someone new that can come up and beat you.
And then basically...
And that's what makes me train so hard, too.
So this is the funny thing. We're going to jump back on back on track. That's what the funny thing. In mixed martial arts, you're only as good as your last fight.
Yep.
Right? In jiu-jitsu, I find it different. Right? Like, for example...
It depends on your marketing. If you're like this person that just is on the grind and they win some, they lose some. Some people have marketing like that. It's okay. Yeah. But there's these marketing of people that are like unbeatable. Yeah. They have to win everything. Then they lose. It destroys their brand.
But so do you think...
Oh, that was what I was going to talk to you about before also in jiu-jitsu. Like how some people that have no personality, they have to bank on that. Just winning everything.
Yep.
Which is even harder to do.
So here's a question. Do you think you destroying Gabriel Sousa destroyed his brand?
No, I built his brand.
Okay. But everybody pretty much forgot that match happened essentially because he's off doing
ADCC,
right? If that fight happened in mixed martial arts, I don't think he could recover the same way.
There's no comeback.
There's no comeback from that.
I think because we have so many competitions and comps, you could just go instantly to another comp.
They forget,
and then you can work your way up again.
Yep. Like let's say he goes on, he does great at ADCC.
If he wins ADCC, now his stock is like this again.
It's higher than yours essentially.
Yep.
Because he's like, people forget. People have short-term memory, right? And that's one of the things that I love about grappling because there's so much more grappling.
Yeah.
Right?
That is a good point.
Right? It's like, he builds a brand. Hey, you know what? I just fought Mikey Musumeci. He fucking destroyed me, right?
But then you can come back and just win again. Next weekend.
Jiu-jitsu, you can do that. MMA, you cannot do that, right? That's why I like jiu-jitsu a lot better.
There's probably way more pressure MMA in that sense.
Well, yeah, and
like,
MMA fans are different.
Jiu-jitsu, you just like you're sad, like just go next week and meet again.
For example, let's talk about your coach.
Yeah,
Cobrinha.
Yep.
Grappling them.
Yeah, legend.
Does he beat you up?
Oh, he could beat me and Kennedy up. 45.
Yeah.
He barely he trains every day, like consistent. He just come on the mat and just fuck us up.
Does he really fuck you guys up?
He's
dead
amazing.
Serious.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He still beats you, huh?
He's still like amazing.
Fuck. I wish I could watch that match.
No, he's so good.
I told him we could make him a millionaire. Just take him around the world and fuck everybody up.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to do Masters World.
He's not. He can't.
No, because he can go to ADCC right now and beat all those guys in adult.
He's so good. So good.
Amazing.
Okay, so I felt like, this is me coming in, I felt like when you jumped on the scene and won championship, you're fighting all these guys and you weren't really training. My personal opinion, you could say, no, I was training. But I felt like the level of training you're doing now compared to when you fought Imanari, Brooks.
I was in Asia. I was living in Asia.
Yeah.
I had great training in Asia, but I was eating like shit. Yep. I was just training like a hobbyist.
Yeah.
No recovery, rest. I just had fun.
But you're still destroying everybody.
Yep. In my division, I had no to train like this because I just doing that minimum, my level of skill was so much higher that I still beat all those guys.
Exactly.
So then me going to this division up, it made me excited. Like now I'm actually lifting weights, being an athlete, things I never did for like the last 10 years.
Yeah. And so pretty much you going up in the division, fighting the cage, taking on Gabriel Sousa, this gave you the drive to seek out.
When you're like a kid and you're coming up and you want to win these titles, like when we're in the beginning, we have that drive, right?
So but that gave you not the opportunity, but it gave you the...
How do you mentally make yourself train more and eat better and all these things if you know that you're like eating whatever you want and training that, you still beat those guys?
Yeah, it's very hard.
Yep.
It's very hard. Right? That's why I said, like, when you went after Cobrinha and you started training with him, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, so I'm having, like, the craziest training, right? Like,
now
like hours, I'm getting World's Finals, me and Cobrinha, me and Kenny, and we're, like, leveling up like crazy.
Exactly.
Then when we go to every other fight, it's a different dimension than that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so comfortable and confident now training with all these guys like Cade, Gabriel. They're all high-level guys.
Yep.
But the things I'm experiencing in that room is very high level.
Exactly. And that's where I felt like people outside, like for me, I was like, okay, he's just doing his own thing in the garage. And you're like, you know what? You went to...
I really took it serious.
You started taking it serious.
Yep.
That's the best... Yeah, you started taking it serious.
I always take training serious. Like my whole life training hours. I'm obsessed with jiu-jitsu. I love it.
Yeah.
But I was just doing it as a hobby.
Yes.
Like a hobbyist would train. Like I'm training with pure hobbyists like the last 5 or 6 years.
Yep.
Even when I won Worlds in 2021, Gi Worlds, my last Gi Worlds, I just trained in my garage with just hobbyists.
Yep.
No competitors.
Yep.
And then it was my best world performance ever.
Wow.
And I was just eating pizza every night.
Yep.
The one meal, made 125. And I beat the 10-time world champion Bruno Malfacini in the finals.
I watched that one.
But that was so then when you go into a match like that and you think in your mind, oh, did you eat well? No. Did you do this well? No.
I don't give a shit if I lose or win. Oh, I beat him.
And then it's your best performance ever.
But see, you had no stress on yourself. No stress.
I compete better like that.
Yeah. Right? You got to build a division. You got to build a...
I get so much, but then I get so much hate and pressure from everyone. I have to learn how to deal with it.
You have no hate from me.
No, you're a lover. Thank you.
Just go out there and do your thing, and that's what's going to change me. But I felt once you started training with Cobrinha, I felt like your game just went to a different level. Like your
my
mindset,
mental, everything. Yeah.
Like when we're growing, we're grappling, I was like, oh my fucking God, you're coming after me.
Yeah.
Granted, you might like, I'm building my brand off this motherfucker. I'm going to choke you out, right? But you were coming after me. And I felt once you started training Cobrinha, granted, I never trained with you before Cobrinha, I felt he's taking your game to a different level.
No, he's helped me so much.
And to go with him, I'm like, oh my God, like this is a different level. Different level. Okay, Mikey. Now, what is the other thing I wanted to ask you about? Alex Volkanovski. Let's talk about, you were potentially going to compete at the CGI.
Yep.
As a super fight.
Yep.
Tell me about how you got the opportunity to do that, and the person you were going to grapple was Alex Volkanovski.
Yeah, so basically Craig was trying to make $1 million division for us at 145 too. He's like, you have to do it, and then I'll make the $1 million division. I was like, fuck it, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like, and then I'm like, okay, I'll fight anyone, $1 million. Like, we can build people's brands. Like, sure, just give me the money like that. You know what I mean, right? Like, I'll build all those people's followers.
Yeah.
All the steroid Manaus Brazilian followers. I'll build them up.
Yeah.
If they just give me money.
Yeah.
So, but he wasn't able to fund another $1 million division. So instead, I'm just like, okay, I just want to support your event. I love what you're doing. I'll do the match 100% for charity.
Yep.
Zero money for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were completely free.
Oh,
we were just going to donate all the money to charity. Me and Volk.
Wow.
And I knew that would be a great match for us. No leg locks. And I thought it would be beautiful because Volk is a hard guy to sub. You know, Islam couldn't sub him, and Islam's like 200 pounds. He's fucking huge.
You would have subbed him.
But what I'm saying is, I thought it was a challenge. I respect Volk. He's a legend. Just like you. You guys are legends.
Yeah.
And helping our sport jiu-jitsu grow, helping us, like, it's really awesome, you know? So, when
you submitted me, they were like, wow, that was really easy.
No. No.
His buddy off camera was like,
he's just talking shit. No, but Volk and me, I feel like Volk would have brought a different segment of people that don't watch jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely.
And then we could have helped grow the sport more.
Yep.
So, and we could have donated all the charity. So I thought it was like a win-win for all of us, and I could have supported the event. You know?
Yep.
But unfortunately, Volk wasn't able to. He got red light at the end on his part.
Yeah, probably because of him. That's the hardest scene too, because if you were to beat Volkanovski, and then everybody's like, holy shit, who's Mikey? if people don't know who you are, who's Mikey? Oh, he competes at one championship. Those viewerships go to who watch UFC, go to one championship
I don't know
and
if it
watch.
was a UFC or anything, but I just know that he wasn't able to for some reason at the end.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Some reason at the end, but I just respected Volk a lot for because we were both trying to help to grow the event.
Absolutely,
cool.
absolutely. Okay, Mikey, what's your end game?
My end game. This community is very toxic and fucked up. My end game: get married, have kids, disappear, go off the grid, no more Instagram, nothing, and then maybe compete in the gi for fun.
God, why do you think this? What makes this community so toxic?
The jiu-jitsu community itself.
Yeah.
It supports all the wrong things like taking drugs. They say mental health, you're a pussy if you talk about mental health. But they're all on steroids because they're mentally scared. Like they need to take steroids. Like just stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And that community is all that based, you know? Like it's nothing authentic in the community.
Gotcha.
You know? So I feel like I'm the bad guy. Like I become a bad guy just being nice and cool to people.
Yeah.
It pisses them off.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just very toxic. You know, I just been in it too many years. A lot of fake people, a lot of messed up people. You know,
I think it could be also a form of jealousy of, you know, if I can look at it as like maybe you got all these opportunities to make all this money. Granted, you're in a position where you're beating the fuck out of everybody.
But I think that's the thing. Like, you've noticed this too, right? There's a lot of people that could win things, right? And they'll be like, I won that. I deserve this. No, you don't deserve anything. You have to bet people to watch you, to build your brand. If you just win gi worlds by an advantage or ref decision, opening up your chest and you're juiced to the gills, who the fuck wants to watch you or even have you make money, right?
Yeah. I think it could be a sign of envious and just they wish they had that opportunity.
I'm really kind to everyone. Like I really am the same. The lowest person in the room, the highest. I treat everyone the same.
Yeah.
You know, but I get so much hate. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like I'm just like, what the hell? Like I'm nice to everyone. What the fuck?
No, it's
something new that I'm learning to deal with. I know everyone has their own obstacles in their life. Like God gives us all obstacles. I have to personally learn how to deal with this.
Yep.
You know, I have a hard time. That's what I'm saying.
I think the biggest thing, you know, we'll end up closing this out. I think the biggest thing, if I can give you any advice, is that you were put in a position to have all these opportunities to fight on the platform or one championship. You've done well at IBJJF and you're making great money, right? And I think for people out there who envy you this is you should tell them like you should strive to want to have the same opportunities that I've had. And the only way you're going to get there is by winning and building your brand and showing your personality. That way people want to tune in and watch your fight, 100%. Right? It's not my fault that I got the opportunity to do X, Y, and Z.
It's like bitterness. It's like that vibe.
Like 100%. Yeah. I can say the same thing. When I went over to one championship, I didn't get an immediate title shot, but I did bring a lot of noise and I did get a lot of press and all that stuff. And I'm sure there's athletes.
Kind of bitter people, right?
There's probably athletes on there. And you know what I tell them? I was like, guys, y'all have a problem with me getting all the spotlight. Y'all can go talk to somebody.
But the interesting thing is the best people, like how I am, you are, we never even comparing ourselves to anyone else. We're just focused on ourselves being the best we could be.
I'm just here trying to get this money.
That mentality is what I feel makes us the best.
Yeah.
We don't we're just pushing ourselves to grow and be uncomfortable and grow. These people, they look at, I deserve this because this person got this. No, focus on yourself, keep winning, build your brand, and then you'll get everything. Just don't fucking be pissed at me that I'm getting shit and you're not.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I was that person too. You know, when CM Punk came on the scene in the UFC, he was making $500,000 flat. And when he jumped in the UFC, I already had maybe 6-7 title defenses and I had a chip on my shoulder and I didn't feel it was right that he was making way more money than I was. And I've already been a world champion. And only thing it brought me was a lot of anger and bitterness towards the organization. And at the end of the day, it didn't help me out.
Yeah.
Right. But now, hindsight, 38 years old, done a lot of amazing things in mixed martial arts. I'm happy he was able to make that much money. Right. I'm happy.
And he brought a new segment, right?
He brought a new segment to the thing.
Which is great for everyone because now new fans that wouldn't watch MMA are now watching.
Exactly, right?
More exposure.
Right? And so that's why you guys like this. You motherfuckers are grateful I'm here, right? Like for me, when I compete in these tournaments, if somebody taps me out, like a guy tapped me out in Pans. It was the first time I ever tapped out. And when I got done, I was like, wow, I tapped out. And I was like, and then after the tournament, we both left the arena to get like at the same time. He jumped in his car with his wife. I jumped in the car with my wife and my kids, put our luggage, and we both drove our own separate ways. Yeah. And life continued, right? And so anybody out there who's hating on this man, Mikey Musumeci, don't hate on him. Do yourself a favor. Get some help. Find God.
Find God.
Mikey, this is your opportunity to let people know how they can support you, where they can find you. The floor is yours, brother.
Yes. Follow me on Mikey Musumeci on Instagram and support me and tune into my match at 168 in Denver, September 6th.
And ladies and gentlemen, you can watch this on Amazon Prime. We all know you guys have Amazon Prime. You're probably at home at your mom's basement or you're at your baby mama's house. She's got Amazon Prime.
Voice.
What's that?
I love your monotone voice.
I'm just letting them know, right? Everybody's got free shipping, right? If you got free shipping with Prime, you can watch Prime Video. So do yourself a favor, tune into Mikey taking on Gabriel in one championship. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Demetrious Johnson. This is my guest, Mikey Musumeci, DARTH RIGATONI, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of the MightyCast.
Thank you, guys.
Boom.
Dude, that was awesome.
So, off record.
Okay.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Mighty Recap, and we just had DARTH RIGATONI on here, Mikey Musumeci, and this is the part of the episode where we recap everything we talked about. So, you were saying about the whole league thing, right? About how continue about that.
Yeah, so there's kind of debate, how do we grow the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yep.
And one thing Mikey and his team, and by the way, off camera, how long did we talk? Like after that, it was longer than the interview itself.
Yeah, probably 45 to an hour.
Yeah, so a lot of that conversation off camera, and this shows the passion that you have and both you guys have for BJJ and growing it, that a lot of this discussion was how can we make it bigger? How can these guys get paid? So one of the things his team and Mikey talked about was leagues, right? So you could root for teams. And so I was kind of saying, I think it's more about, I just want to see the best under one banner, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that. One championship is, trying their best. They have best Muay Thai, right? I mean, there's no denying that. But then MMA, of course not, because of UFC.
Yep.
So how can we get all of the best in BJJ under one banner where, hey, I have this title. This means that I am the best in the world, not, oh, but there's this guy who, this thing. So I think that, for me personally, would get me invested is like, dude, this one title here under one banner, everyone's signed to them, but that might never happen.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's the same thing with boxing. You have the WBC champion, the WBO, the IBF, International Boxing Federation. You have so many different belts in boxing that were like, what belt is worth more than the other ones, right? And same thing with, I think the biggest thing with jiu-jitsu is that you have so many different tournaments. IBJJF, ADCC, CJI. Then you also have who's number one. ADCC, where all these athletes get to go compete everywhere else, to where I think to have all the best grapplers in the world under one banner as a stable, like mixed martial arts, you have to pay a high premium because these guys are grappling all the fucking time. All the time, right? That's one of the biggest gripes that you had the other day. You're like, how come these motherfuckers aren't fighting as much? Right?
Because that's what's great about grappling. You could do it
as much as you want. As much.
Like how many times are you going to compete? Well, actually, I'm dating this podcast, but
that's okay.
How many times do you compete in your average BJJ tournament?
I mean, you're at least doing 6 matches, depending on how big the bracket is.
6 matches a day. So if we can have the right investor come in, pay these guys, and of course, it needs to make business sense. It's not. It can't just be charity, right?
Yeah.
But just think of UFC. These guys fight twice a year, and you could do this grappling just if you build the names and have everyone under there. Every single week you could watch Mikey go against someone. So there's something there, and I hope within the next 3 years or so someone invests in it, and we're already seeing Craig Jones make an attempt at it, but it's there.
And I think the biggest thing, like you just said it there, it's like building the athletes. Right? Everybody knows, like we're sitting here talking and I said Baby Shark. You're like, who's Baby Shark? Granted, you're not very versed in the grappling world, right? But you are part of the martial arts world. Like you watch fighting, like religiously, probably more than I do. And that's the problem Mikey was talking about. Like they don't have enough bigger stars in the sport where it's a household name. Right? So if you have one of the biggest stars in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu who's not a household name, then how are you going to be able to convert that into viewership and into making money? And I think for Mikey, I think another problem with that is that there's not a division, right? I asked Mikey, I said, it's the Mikey Musumeci division, the Bertolo division, because you see these guys come fight once and then they're gone. If you look in the UFC, you could probably name the top 5 145ers in the UFC, right? If I say who's a top 10 fighters in the welterweight division in the UFC, you can name that, right? And I think that's a problem when you look at a division that has an established champion. You can't name who's the number one contender, who's next in a grappling scene. And I think that's also another thing that's probably hurting the sport. I don't know, maybe.
And just to be understand, like this was a full day of Mikey. Like this was a couple hours of rolling. And had you guys ever met before this?
Yeah, we met before. Yeah.
Oh, you had met before.
We met a couple of times in Denver. I was there in Thailand when he destroyed Homeboy's knee, the Mongolian's knee. We'll never see him ever again.
Yeah, because the guy wouldn't tap. And
the guy would not tap. Yeah. And he just tore everything. We met in Denver. But cool guy. But I would say the biggest thing I was surprised about was like how good he was. Right? Like I'm at a point now in my career, like when I start to train with people, I start watching. Like I'm more impressed by just watching them, and his hands had footwork, like the way he was doing things with his hands when we were grappling. I was like, Jesus Christ, like your hands, it's like doing its own thing. It's like footwork. And him, how effort it was. He was actually, the ass beating was a lot worse in the gi than it was in NoGi. Like it was, I mean, you saw it.
And he's like, I hadn't trained gi in months.
6 months. What did you think when you watched it? Were you like, Jesus Christ?
No, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I had never seen anything like that. Like, it was unreal, and it was a pleasure to watch and getting to see that. And I wasn't with you when you were with Cade, but it was like, I just sat there like, who the fuck could beat this guy? Like, because remember the one breakdown we did of Mikey on our channel was like, yeah, it wasn't. We only did it because he was having the rematch, but you were like, this isn't the best like example of him, and that's the only match I had ever seen of him. So I'm like, I'm not that impressed. He's just going right on his ass and all that shit. But no, I'm never saying that shit again. Like he looked incredible in both NoGi and in the gi. I was extremely impressed with what he did.
Well, that's the biggest thing, too, that we're talking about is that I felt during the podcast, I felt when you're fighting like Shinya Aoki, Imanari, Jared Brooks, when you're fighting these guys, I felt like you weren't even training, right? And he goes, yeah, I wasn't really. It's like I wasn't, getting excited. I felt these guys weren't on my level. But then now that he was going to have that rematch with Gabriel Sousa, and then now he's fighting Cabertolo, he reached out and got Charles Cobrinha, which is the guy I grappled with before Mikey, and you saw.
I don't know if I buy that. He's like, oh, he still fucks me up. It's like then he's just in this like
I think that guy
God level.
I think he does.
Oh really? Oh my God! And that just shows the level. That's the one thing I learned as someone who I just started training in jiu-jitsu, and I was kind of humbled in my early practices, and then seeing you. Like that, someone at your level, that's still possible. It gives me more hope because it makes me realize, like, oh shit, this is normal.
Hope?
Like you.
Hope? What do you mean hope? You got.
I'm saying because I wanted to give up because I got handled and I just thought like, man, I suck. Like I shouldn't be doing this. But if you are a BJJ black belt and you could still get handled like that, then I have no shame. I should just keep.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I can say this, right? And that's the hardest thing with mixed martial arts. You can't train like that. Like me, Aljo, can't train like that in MMA. Like punch, kick, wrestle. We can't do that for 2 hours, right? We're going to get concussions, all that shit. And you can truly find out who's better or whatnot, right? In Jiu-Jitsu, you can do that. And Jiu-Jitsu is a constant learning game and a journey, and people do different styles. People have different flexibility, right? Like Mikey's so fucking flexible. Like that new thing he was doing to me, I've never felt that before in my life. I was like, wow, that's actually very impressive. And he was, I've been working on it. For how many years he's been doing it, he's still coming up with new shit. So yeah, don't ever get not depressed, but like, oh fuck, I shouldn't grapple anymore. If this guy's getting his ass kicked, there's hope for me.
That reminds me of another thing that I thought was really interesting to interview. Mikey is very passionate about the guys who use and don't use. He's of course a huge endorser of just the clean BJJ and I certainly get it. So like what's your stance on?
It's so fucking hard.
Because I will say from the outside looking in, you do have to look at guys like Gordon Ryan and Craig Jones that like Jesus, they are great brands. Yeah, tremendous brands. So. I think what you said, what I personally agree with, is that they're outspoken about, hey, I do use.
That's what I do.
So that makes me gain respect, but I also see it from Mikey's vantage point of this dude. If you saw him walking down the street, you don't.
Yeah.
you could probably
Are you
mug
lost?
him.
How was going on?
If you want to go mug him, like you'd think nothing of it. Like go take and absolutely incredible, breathtaking BJJ. So what's your stance on that whole debate?
When you look at it, like I look at it, the bodybuilding scene, right? You see all these guys who are fucking jacked, big ass pectorals, deltoids, biceps, triceps, abdominals, obliques, whatever it may fucking be. And you're at the gym and you have this self-conscious, like, man, how can I get that big? In reality, if you ask me, there was a guy I was training with at the gym and he kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm like, fuck, man, how are you getting bigger? He goes, I just eat more. You just got to eat more calories. Then come to find out, I asked his girlfriend. She goes, man, I was jabbing his ass. I was jabbing his ass with needles so much, I could have been a fucking nurse. And I was like, so what you're saying is there's no way I can get that big without taking steroids? She goes, absolutely not. You can't get that big. It's not possible.
Especially at this age.
Especially at this age, being 38 years old. So when I look at guys like Gordon Ryan and Craig Jones, and there's so many more athletes who are outspoken about it. Like if you're gonna do it, just be outspoken about it. And then if they test, and it's illegal, you can't do it in the division, then don't do it. But there's nothing they say in Master Worlds when you're not a professional that they say you can do it, right? So I guess, I'll never do it because one, I don't think I need it. Two, if somebody could beat me because it takes steroids, then I guess my game was not good enough to begin with, right? But I also think, what Mikey said, he thinks that Gordon Ryan doing steroids kind of ruined his gut, aged him a lot more. His body's breaking down. Craig Jones, says he's open about doing it, but he's not taking a massive amount of steroids. He's just taking a little bit just to keep his testosterone on an even playing field, right? So I think I honestly don't have a response to it. Like I want to get Craig Jones on here and ask him like, hey, what's your stance on testosterone in the sport of jiu-jitsu, right? Because, like I said, I tell everybody, I just got to this fucking party, right? I was at the UFC party and one championship party, mixed martial arts. Now I'm at a jiu-jitsu party to hear how the community is toxic towards him and the steroid culture. This is all new to me.
Yeah, and I just, the biggest takeaway for me, and you asked me after, like, oh, how did it go? And my biggest thing was it was great seeing two guys just totally geek out about jiu-jitsu. I didn't want it to be like a podcast where you were kind of just having to explain things to people who aren't necessarily already fans. Like when I post in our community page, everyone was just like, dude, these are just two BJJ nerds nerding out. That's what it was it went for, I think, an hour and a half, could have gone even longer. And it did actually go longer.
And so, we even obviously after, the X-rated version, we were talking about the stuff before we started, we were filming, but then you started recording. We kept on talking about the X-rated stuff. We'll post that after the Denver event. And then, so the podcast could have been 2 hours long.
Yeah, he was a guy, he had much more personality than I expected. Very opinionated and just an absolute devil on the mats. Like it was a pleasure talking to him, and I know you're gonna roll with him a little bit more probably, right?
I hope. I want to keep on getting more exposure in jiu-jitsu because I know there's so much more I can do and get better and picking his brain. I think we have the same IQ. Like obviously his IQ is a lot higher than mine. I think the IQ of me learning more of his game could help me out because we're both short and we're both going against bigger people, especially since we weigh exactly the same and I'm eating more to go up to 154. So I'm hoping to get more chance to train.
Yeah, and what do you think, last question, what do you think of his prospects if he does try MMA? He's 28 years old right now.
I think the biggest thing
about that?
I think the biggest thing for him is he's got to find the right opponent, and he's just got to get to where he's going to be strong at, which is off his back or top game in jiu-jitsu. But that's the thing we're talking. He doesn't need money. Money is not a thing for him. But when we sat here and talked, he's like, I don't need money. He goes, he was going to do CGI for free for charity and take on Alex Volkanovski, but nothing came of it. So
good for Volkanovski. It would have if he was trying. I don't know if Mikey would have tried to make it look better, but or if he would have just gone out and tried to make it as fast as possible.
He would have made it fast, because think about
it. Then that would have been I'm telling you, maybe would have been 15 seconds or something.
Yeah, but like we talked about, like in their podcast, building your brand. The mixed martial artist in America has the biggest brand that transcends. It's a household name, right? Mikey's at that point now, right? Like you go down the street, we're having dinner with my mother-in-law and my stepmom in the house, and I said, "Oh yeah, we just had Mikey over." You had Mikey over? And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I thought he was in New York." No, he lives in New Jersey. So no, he lives here. I did not know that. He's such a nice guy. Mikey's a household name. They don't watch jiu-jitsu in his house.
And your son too, because
my son loves him
usually
too.
he doesn't even care like who we're talking. Like I don't remember if he went up to Israel Adesanya when he was here, but it was not in the way where it was for Mikey, where he like was like, oh, is he here yet? And like I want to say goodbye to him.
Yeah,
all that stuff. So he's a legitimate star in this sport.
In his sport of jiu-jitsu. And I think he's gonna be crossing over into like the mixed martial arts, stardom, if he keeps if he does UFC Fight Pass. Because that's all UFC fan base in mixed martial arts. You think about like now MMA guys are starting to do more jiu-jitsu, like Aljamain Sterling. You had Uriah Faber do it. You had Chad Mendes do a jiu-jitsu, where those guys already have a big following in mixed martial arts and they're watching him do jiu-jitsu. So we'll see. But I'm excited for him. It was a great podcast with Mikey Musumeci. Very good podcast. Shout out to First Phorm energy drink. Cheers, brother. Shout out to First Phorm.
Steve Austin.
Don't fucking make a mess with this. This shit's delicious.
Oh man.
First Phorm energy. This is the blue raspberry. Absolutely delicious. 200 milligrams. Make sure you guys get your First Phorm. Shout out to the sponsor for sponsoring this podcast, First Phorm. I think Micah was super good in just being honest, open, transparent about his career, where he's at, where he wants to see the jiu-jitsu community go and start making money. And it's kind of crazy. Everybody started hating on Mikey when he started making fucking money. Right? When he was poor, winning all these titles, like, yeah, go Mikey, go. Now he's cashing all these big ass checks. Everyone's like, fuck that guy, hate him. He's making all that money now. That's why I asked him. I said, do you think money ruined jiu-jitsu? And he was like, no, but everybody's hating you. I wanted to call him Marvel Jesus. He's like jiu-jitsu Jesus. He's bringing all this money into jiu-jitsu not for himself, but he's getting an opportunity to get money for himself, and everybody's hating on him.
No, yeah. From the outside looking in, like, and you could tell me if I'm wrong. At least in America, the biggest names are Mikey Musumeci, Gordon Ryan, and Craig Jones. Who else am I forgetting? Like
Rotolo brothers. You also have Muragali, Nicky Rod, Nicky Ryan.
Either way, he's
he's the cream of the crop.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
the cream of the crop.
Him and Gordon Ryan are. I would certainly hope if he's getting his earning potential, he should be in that upper echelon. And I think we've discussed the MMA, but if we're being honest, like what I hope is like, can we please just let this dude keep becoming a god at BJJ? Like it almost is a little depressing because it reminds me of a great MMA fighter who does boxing just because there's more money in boxing, but they suck at boxing. You know what I mean? It's like, I wish there was enough money in MMA to keep doing it. Like my hope is that Mikey could keep getting that bag, keep getting paid in BJJ, so we could see him continue to do it for the 10 to 12 hours a day, which is fucking ridiculous, by the way. How many hours are you even like awake? So yeah, like 16 hours. I mean, and just 10 to 12 hours he's doing jiu-jitsu is ridiculous.
And just to give you guys context, I train jiu-jitsu 3 days a week of actually training, and it's an hour and a half each day. So not even a week of my training equals to one of his day of training jiu-jitsu. Put that into fucking context when you guys, if you guys ever see that fucking ass whooping that he put on me, right? I'm training 4.5 hours a week, 5 hours a week of jiu-jitsu. He's training fucking 6 to 8 hours a day. So one of his days beats my whole week in jiu-jitsu.
But that's why I just hope he can continue to do that instead of well, there's not enough money in BJJ, so now I got to learn how to throw a punch.
That's why he went in NoGi. Right, he loves the gi, truly.
Oh yeah, the money's all in the NoGi. Exactly. Yeah.
And his NoGi was, I felt his athletic ability way more in the gi. Like I said, this is way fucking worse, which it is because there's more handles. But he felt smoother. He felt like
with Cade. Did you do gi and no gi?
I just did gi with him.
Oh, because I would have been intrigued to know if there was like because when you got in that gi with Mikey, you were immediately like, oh fuck,
it's worse. But here's the difference. Cade's game, and he told me, he goes, I don't have a high level black belt gi game. My game in the gi is the same in no gi. Like, granted, he knows the lasso, he knows, lasso, spider, and all that stuff, but he still has the same game in the gi and no gi, and that's why he's so successful in the no gi. In gi, because he's using that no gi mentality: break the grips, pass the guard, break the walls, defend, create your frames. It's the same thing. Guys who are high level in the gi and black belt, like Mikey is, it's two different fucking styles, which is, I thought that today. And that's why we thought it different. So if you guys are new to the channel and you enjoyed this episode of the Mighty Recap, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell when we go live. Shout out to our sponsor, First Phorm, for taking care of us on the first one. Hey, baby. If you guys enjoyed this episode of the Mighty Recap, make sure you leave a comment. Let us know where you want to see the jiu-jitsu scene go. And obviously you guys want to see more money and athletes make more money. So hit the bell. We'll see you guys at the next episode of the Mighty Recap.